Good evening, race fans. Welcome back to CXRL. We are on race number 3 of our NASCAR Championship for the month of May. This is the third race. We're halfway through this season because there's 5 races in this season, and we'll get started here shortly. Tonight's race will be at Indy Oval for 52 laps. Our grid positions are listed there. In pole, we have Code, second, Royst, third, Cable, fourth, Bagel, fifth, King Cody, sixth, GameStopper, seventh, Coinsy, eighth, Pings, and ninth, Spools. We had a lot of no-shows tonight, so we will be starting off with a smaller grid, but that doesn't mean we can have some excellent racing. So, Indy. This race will require 2 pit stops for each driver for fuel and tires. So there's going to be a lot of strategy for pits, tires, fuel, how people are going to conserve or how people are going to push. This track is very tricky with the NASCARs. It's a lot different than IndyCar or hell even slower cars. They're very particular and very, very specific lines that these cars need to take. So it's going to be a tricky race. All these turns are different in their own ways. Turns 1 and 3 are similar, but turns 2 and 4 are completely different in the way you take them. So it's going to be some excellent racing tonight. Let's get things started. Here we are starting off on our formation lap. We actually have Bagel's stream today, which is great. So Code is going to lead us around for the first lap of our championship. Championship race here today. They round every corner. Everybody's tires are cold, so turn 1 could be a bit tricky. It's a great sight to see these cars go around for a formation lap. Hold on, we have a slight screen issue that has been resolved. There we go. So as they're rounding turn 3, they're going to start to slow down here to form up. Now, there's only 5 drivers in this race, so this start will kind of mean everything. We expect a lot of drafting, but not as much drafting trains as you'd see from Daytona. A lot of the drafting is for passing, and that's from the straights into the turns 1 and 2. So here they come up on the line, the front straight. This is anyone's race. Oval racing is so much different than road courses. There we go. The countdown has begun. And we are green at Indianapolis for the third race of our NASCAR Championship. Spool's getting an amazing launch off the start. Makes up a ton of positions. A little bit of contact from Bagel and Spools. Code falling behind. Wait. Code is behind the pack now. Not sure what happened there. Bagel leading this race so far. Spools falling behind. GameStopper following Spools, and then Coin following GameStopper, and Code is right behind Coin. Into turn 3 they go. A little bit of tire smoke from Spools, it seems. Everything is in order. Coin making up some time on GameStopper in turn 3. Turn 4 is a really tricky one. A lot of these drivers have different strategies for letting out to not hit that wall, because that wall comes up quickly. Spools is in the rear view mirror of Bagel, and Bagel's able to get by. Coin making up a lot of time in that corner. Is it going to be enough? No. Is really close, though, to passing GameStopper. Spools is taking away from Bagel now. Seems Bagel may have made a mistake into that corner. Not completely sure what happened there. Into turn 3. A little bit of tire smoke from Spools again into turn 3. To turn 4. Coin is losing a little bit of time to GameStopper. The gaps are kind of widening now that they don't have drafts. It's all about that pure skill of how fast they can go through these turns. GameStopper is catching up a good bit to Bagel, though. These gaps are not widening a lot, except for Code, who has dropped off way behind Coinsy. It's very unfortunate. Once you lose that draft, there's no getting it back. GameStopper making a pull on Bagel. Look at that draft, slowly pulling him closer. See if he can make the move into turn 4. It does not seem like he has enough momentum to get past in turn 3, but is carrying so much more speed. The bump draft will also benefit Bagel. You guys also notice how fast that pulls GameStopper along. Into turn 1. Lap 5. GameStopper is making up a little bit of time every corner, it looks, on Bagel. But it's very hard to tell because they go, oh, never mind, that's not hard to tell. He just pulls right on his bumper. Looks like he's going to get past in the straight. He has the draft. He's right on his bumper. Is Bagel going to move? Bagel, not really. GameStopper goes to the inside. Bagel keeps his line, goes a little bit wide. They both go wide. Some tire smoke from Bagel. And Coin is getting in on the action. Saw that they were fighting, but takes a way wide line into turn 4 and loses out on that action. GameStopper still pulling on Bagel. I don't know how long Bagel can hold him off like this. But GameStopper really needs to get himself in a position where he can secure the pass, and it looks like it's coming up here. Nah, maybe into turn 3. Holding a lot more momentum through turn 2. Passes on the outside, barely skims the bumper, taps the wall, and loses that momentum. Some great racing from those two. Spool's pulling away, and Code seems to be fading back from the pack. So our main fighting right now is between Bagel, GameStopper, and Coinsy. And they are all very close. Bagel into the wall. GameStopper is gaining ridiculously, gets the pass. And it looks like Coin might also get the pass on him. Bagel tapped the wall and lost it there. A little bit of banging doors from Coinsy. Coin in the wall. Coin spins. Coin spun around. We don't have a yellow. We have full course yellow. Oh, big wreck. Code into Coinsy. That is going to bring out our virtual safety car. So we see all of everybody slowing down. Goodness gracious, that was a hard hit from Code. Coin didn't seem to take too much damage from it. He's limping away from the crash. Wow. Coin got into the wall, it seemed, and it just dragged her in. And the car went around. She tried to turn it around on the banked corner, but Code was coming up way too fast. I guess she thought she had more room. The virtual safety car is out. It seems like Coin is giving a little push to Code to hopefully get him to the pits. I cannot imagine that both of their cars are doing well. Bagel's in the pits! Bagel's in the pits before the pit window opened. The pit window opens at lap 9 for fuels and tires. Unless you have damage. That is interesting. We're going to see what the race stewards think about that. Very unfortunate. Man, Coin was right up in that battle and just faded. I'm surprised Bagel didn't get caught up in that crash. It was pretty gruesome. Could have been really, really much worse if Bagel got involved in it. It seemed like Bagel was just able to dodge it. And from the stewards, Bagel has received a drive-through penalty for going through the pit lane when it was closed for fuel and tires. Yeah, it didn't look like Bagel was involved in the crash, so there was no reason for him to pit. And it also seems that Coin and Code will have to still take 2 mandatory pit stops on top of this one during the race for fuel and tires. Safety car is still out. Code and Coin trying to catch up to the pack after that crash. I'm surprised they're both still in this race. That was a hard hit from both of them. So Bagel is going to have to pit another time, and then 2 more for fuel and tires. So that's going to be 4 total pits this race. Granted, the first pit doesn't really make a difference because they're under safety car. They'll be allowed to catch up. Wow. This does mean that Spools has gotten his lead taken away by a lot. Everybody's catching up now, as the safety car will be going in this lap. So we will hopefully see a clean restart. It just shows you how dangerous this track is. Like, you're moving at 200 miles an hour, you can't react. Coin was in the middle of the track before Code could even think. Right, it looks like we're getting ready for the restart. The pack is a little bit clumped up. The wheels, a little bit far away, not clumped up. They need to be clumped up. Here we go. And we're on the front straight for the restart. For lap 9. So after this lap, the pit lane will open and Bagel will be able to take his drive-through penalty for pitting when the pit lane was closed. And we are reaching the line here for our restart. They're all ready, and we are green at Indianapolis again for the restart of our race here today. Hey, Spool's got another great launch. Ooh, some door banging by GameStopper, Bagel, and Code, and Coin. All 4 of them getting together. A lot of sparks flying. Bagel sending it up, pushes Code. Tires smoke from Code. Coin is going to get through them, it seems. Move alongside with Bagel. GameStopper got away really quickly. Coin lets out before turn 3. Didn't seem to want to go too wide with Bagel there. We're going to see when Bagel takes this penalty, because they do have a drive-through penalty. Current positions are Spools. Oh, Bagel is diving into the pits, leaving Coin alone. The current positions are Spools, GameStopper, Coin, Code, and Bagel. What a restart. It seems like a good gap has formed between Spools, GameStopper, and Coin, each about a second apart. And a second really doesn't look like that much of a difference on this track, but trust me, it is. The draft is like within maybe an eighth of a second? Not an eighth, 8/10ths of a second. So you have to really get into that draft for anything to matter. Bagel taking a huge hit to their race from that drive-through penalties. Very unfortunate to see that. So now we have a lot of gaps forming. We can maybe see GameStopper possibly pull up on Spool's a few laps, but their gap is really consistent. Well, Coin's gap is to GameStopper is fluctuating a good bit. Looks like she just got off the wall there. Not exactly sure what happened there. Now this does change things a lot. Having a virtual safety car or safety car of any type or full course yellow always changes the way the race is going to go somehow. We have 2 cars that pitted for damage who have fresher tires and more fuel than the cars ahead now. Didn't pit. And we still have 2 pit stops to go. I think about 3 laps we were under safety car. It was either 2 or 3. So that's 2 to 3 laps added on to everybody's fuel and tire life, essentially. So pit strategies are going to be really important here. The first pit stops don't... Oh, Bagel into the wall there. Hard hit. Didn't take any damage, luckily. But as I was saying about pit strategies are going to be really important for this race. The first pit stops do leave you a little bit more room to work with, but the last pit stops are always the most critical because, hey, you could get a full position or win a race from how you take your last pit stops. Everybody's gaps pretty much even now. Nobody's pulling away or gaining on anybody significantly. It's mostly this game of run the track. Nobody's going to be significantly faster or significantly slower until the tires start to wear out. So tires will wear out for GameStopper and Spools a lot quicker than Code or CoinSeize will. Or hell, even Bagel. Bagel did lose a lot of time from that pit stop, the drive-through pit stop, and still has 2 required pit stops to make. Everybody at this race is even on their pit stops, and everybody needs to make at least 2 pit stops for fuel and tires at this time. So pit strategies may be a little bit more important than we first thought. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. While we have this pretty subtle time in our race, if you're wondering how to race with us or watch us live, our social medias will be in the description below, either in the Twitch stream or in the YouTube description. Check it out if you want to join us for our Forza Racing League. We are CXRL, the Casual Racing League. Casual Xbox Racing League, that's what the X is for. So if you want to hit us up, join us for some casual racing, or join us in our championship, the links are down below. Back to the racing. Everybody right now is just setting solid laps. Really nothing is happening. I don't want to say a race is boring, but when you don't have a big grid, there's not much that's going to happen during the middle of the race. People just got to set their laps. Unless somebody's gaining, there's not much going to happen. The Spools look to have lost a little bit of time on that corner in turn 4. Not sure what happened there. On board GameStopper. GameStopper's tires are starting to turn yellow, which means their cornering speed might be hindered a good bit. While CoinSea, she's on fresh tires and fuel. So if we compare that, only her right front has gone yellow and has significantly more fuel. So we'll probably see GameStopper try and push that car's fuel to the limits. He probably knows that she has more fuel. But the tires are kind of evening out now, as I'm pretty sure they're all pushing. They all want to set their fastest lap because there is a bonus point in the championships for fastest lap. And yeah, it's something to definitely go for. With no draft though, it's going to be interesting to see if anybody can set a really good fast lap. GameStopper doesn't seem to be letting Spools out of his sight, but Coin has definitely fallen off from those two. Current positions haven't changed. Spools in first, second is GameStopper, third CoinSea, fourth Code, and fifth Bagel. Really interested to see if Bagel can make a comeback at all here. With the grid being smaller, there's less likely for DNFs and, slower people. So Bagel's race may be decided. That really is unfortunate that he had to drive through. I bet his thinking was, oh, we're under safety car, I'm going to pit for tires and fuel. Why not? That the pit window was not open. Pretty sure it was directed to the drivers at the meeting before the race, so Ah, it's very unfortunate. There are still 2 races to make up points though. And hey, finishing last in a 5-person grid is a lot better than finishing last in a 10-person grid. There's always that to account for. Coin, I think, tapped that wall coming out of turn 4. Turn 4 is a really tricky turn on Indy. Because you want to carry as much speed as you can through turn 3, as much as you want. Oh, sorry, I got distracted. I thought one of the streams was lagging behind. Our video streamed, it looked like GameStopper's video feed was lagging behind Coins, and I was like confused for a second because they didn't pass. We're on lap 20 out of 52. It does say 53 because that's for a formation lap. GameStopper has got to be thinking about when he's going to pit now. He's going to want to push these as far as he can go. These tires do not want to hold up any longer, though. Holding solid speed through the corners, though. Still able to keep the smoothness out of his car, which is allowing him to get a lot of speed through the corners. Coin has dropped to nearly 4.5 seconds behind GameStopper. It's very unfortunate. Everybody's dropping away like flies, nearly. Well, hopefully things will start to change after the pits. GameStopper hit the wall out of turn 4. It's going to be a common occurrence. Coin as well hit the wall coming out of turn 4. It's like a little tap, but you lose so much speed coming out of that, and it can really affect you in the straightaway. To lap 22 we are on now. Well, have been for about 20 seconds now. GameStoppers and Spools' distances are really static. There doesn't seem to be much movement at all. Coin does seem to be making up some time. Her gaps has gone down from 4. GameStopper in the pits. Coin follows. Spool stays out. So GameStopper pitted with, and then Coinsy followed. I guess she's trying to stay with GameStopper to possibly get past him. Code also dives into the pits. Interesting. You think that they would want to try and overcut them by getting a gap before pitting, but maybe their pace just isn't on par. GameStopper coming out of the pits. Spools goes, no, Bagel goes into the pits. Spools is still yet to pit, and I think that was just Spools pitting there. So GameStopper is still in front of Coin. Now they're going to try and see if they can come out in front of Spools in the pits, but I don't think the gap is big enough to do so. Small enough, I mean. Even though Code looked like he was right behind those 2 drivers, gets out of the pits a lot later. They go coming out of the pits with Spools. I've been mixing up Spools and Pings, I apologize. But Bagel getting out of the pits. Coin and GameStopper rocketing on. Might be able to catch them. Spools holds his position at first, but Coin and GameStopper are coming up fast. Getting out of those pits, you cannot hold that much speed compared to the people who are already on there on a lap. Coin has made up some time though, and is only 1.2 seconds behind GameStopper. It's a lot of race to go here, folks, so we can see anything happen. Also would like to note, we had our first virtual safety car in CXRL history so far at Indy. And it was only for a 2-car crash. I mean, that's kind of to be expected. Bagel seems to be almost lapped by Spools, who's catching up slowly, but still catching up. Coin does seem to be slowly gaining on GameStopper, even if it's tenths of a second per corner. Again, it's really not much. But she's now within a second of GameStopper, getting closer to that draft, which is going to evidently pull her in as soon as she gets into it. Now that everyone is pitted, the strategies for the next pit stop are probably going through the drivers' minds, but they're probably focusing right now. Once the tires start to get yellow and start to get worn and their pace starts to wear out, they'll start thinking about pit strategies. Pit strategies are going to be super important here if anybody wants to make up positions. Coin seems to be closing that gap every lap now, within a 5/10 of a second of GameStopper in the draft. Nearly, it's hard to tell if she's in the draft or not, but is definitely gaining every lap slowly. But will it be enough? It will definitely, at this rate, she will catch GameStopper before the end of the race. But will she be able to hold a position? That's what we're wondering. Spools is slowly catching up to Bagel. Oh, and Coin is in the draft. Look at all that speed coming into turn 3. That has got to be scary in the rearview mirror of GameStopper. Coin just making up little bits of time and is in the draft of GameStopper. This is going to be tense. It's really hard to find a move on Indy unless you have a significant more, amount of speed. Ooh, Coin goes really wide into turn 1, loses a lot of speed, and that gap opened back up for GameStopper. GameStopper can finally breathe a little bit, but not too much, as she's still catching up. And Code back into the pits. Not sure what's up with that. Maybe trying to get the 2 pit stops out of the way and to run to the end of the race on their current fuel. Might be the ultimate Hail Mary strategy if they can pull it off. Coin slowly hunting back GameStopper. Bagel made up a position because Code was in the pits, and Pings seems to be knocking on Bagel's back door here. Don't take that in the wrong way. Hey, but Spools is slowly catching up. I can't imagine it's a good feeling to have, being lapped. Spools is looking to make a move. Backmarker isn't moving out of the way, because Bagel does have pace. Look at the exit he gets compared to Spools out of turn 4. Bagel has pace, just sadly got penalized and could have had a solid position in this race. Goes onto the grass. He looks like he's trying to hold this position for dear life, but is slowly letting go of it, it seems. I mean, he's not going to lose a position, but he will be lapped. And unlapping himself at this point is going to be hard. He's going to need a lot of pace. I mean, there's a possibility if he pits now, he could be able to get a Hail Mary. And there goes Pings. Much better exit on the corner. It's just going to have enough speed in the straightaway to before the corner. Not before the corner, but just And Bagel lets out. Spools gets by. Bagel is now lapped. See, Bagel is catching Spools. He has the pace. Just a bad race, it seems. There are 2 races left, so people rooting for Bagel, you can still have some hope. Now, Bagel is still actually holding on to him with the draft. Goes a little bit wide into that corner, and he's gone. Now, the next battle that's looking to happen is going to be between Coin and GameStopper. They've been pretty close this entire race so far. Coin shaving off a 10th, roughly, per lap on GameStopper. But the gap has only widened and closed. It's not consistent. So we'll see what they are able to do. The next set of pits will really determine how things are going to go. Shall see. Coin lost a lot of time. I wonder if they touched the wall. They lost a lot of time out of turns 1 and 2. And this is the race that we just watch. There's not much to commentate on. Spools has a 7-second gap between GameStopper. Seems to just be growing every lap. Coin has a 2-second gap between GameStopper and herself. It seems to slowly close it in turns 1 and 2. It seems to slowly keep closing that gap every turn. She's holding a little bit more speed, and that little bit more speed through the corners is letting her catch up. Just slightly. She's not incredibly much faster than GameStopper, but those little extra bits of miles per hour through those corners are what matter. The gap has gone down to 1.4 seconds. Coin is gaining. It's hunting down GameStopper lap by lap. At this rate, her pace will surpass GameStopper before the end of the race. As long as no one makes a mistake. GameStopper and Coin are catching up to Bagel though. Bagel's not holding too much speed through these corners. He's holding a solid bit of speed, but it's not as much as the second and third place contenders are, who are steaming up behind him. Code is sadly nowhere to be found on these video feeds. Ever since that restart, he's just fallen behind, sadly. Which is really weird, because Code is one of our better drivers on the road courses. But as soon as he hits an oval, it seems like it's a no-go. He performed really well at Daytona, actually, placing second. The gap is just slowly, ever so slightly closing. And this race has so much distance is that little difference means a lot in the long run. Everybody's tires are starting to cry a little bit, but they're around halfway on fuel, so pit strategies are coming into mind for some of these drivers, I bet. Coin making a lot of time up. Holy cow, she's within a second. She is hunting right now. I'm not sure if GameStopper hit a wall or made a mistake, but she's getting within the draft on the back straight. Into turn 3, she's going to be holding a lot of speed. Will it be enough? Bagel is in front. They're catching him quickly. Look at the gap is closing into turn 3. Coin is pushing hard on these tires, which I can't imagine the car likes. Just going to get a better run out of that corner. It seems to be pretty even, but Coin is going to have the draft. into turn 1. This is going to be a bit sketchy. Coin goes really wide, loses a lot of speed really wide, offline, and loses a ton of time on GameStopper. Still isn't losing him, but that line definitely killed a passing opportunity in the next upcoming laps. Still within a second of each other. And they are catching up to Bagel quick. See them in the rearview mirror of Bagel's POV. Bagel, GameStopper, Coin, and Bagel are slowly coming together. Bagel really does not have to hold them up. So I'm wondering if he's actually going to race, which is fine. We allow that for back markers. Or is he going to let them by? Because they have a lot more pace. Coin is pulling on GameStopper pretty quickly in the straightaway. Into turn 3, Coin just seems to hold a little bit more speed than GameStopper does into turn 3. Turn 4, they seem to be really even. And the draft train is beginning. Wondering if GameStopper is going to get into that draft before Coin gets into GameStopper's draft. So those two might run away from Coin. That would be very unfortunate for Coin, as she's been pushing so hard, holding a little bit more speed every corner. Still within a second. Spools, not Pings, my bad, I keep mistaken. He's pulling almost a 10-second gap on Coin, and roughly a 9-second gap on GameStopper. Probably not see him for the rest of the race. GameStopper is making time up on Bagel slowly, and he's going to slowly get the draft from him. And he's within draft range. It looks like Bagel touched the wall back there. They are all very close. GameStopper doesn't have enough speed to make a move into turn 1. Possibly a move, enough pace in the wall. GameStopper into the wall, loses a bunch of speed. Coin is catching rapidly. Coin is going to pass on the outside of turn 2, and Coin gets by. That mistake costs so much from GameStopper, but GameStopper seems to be in the draft of Coin, so he's not losing too much out. He was right on Bagel, and it seems like he was just holding a little bit too much speed through turn 1 and 2. Well, turn 1 and the exit of turn 1. And just hit the wall. Also looks like they're showing up on Coin. Oh, Coin goes off the track, loses a bunch of speed, and GameStopper is back by. Incredible racing. Code is in the way. Woo! GameStopper trading paint with Code there into turn 1. Losing a lot of speed. Coin is trying to make a move, but just gets blocked. Some close racing here. Coin's tires are starting to suffer. Still within a second of GameStopper, though. This is a real fight for second and third positions here. Which, these are really important spots in the championship, depending on how the next 2 races go. So you want to score as much points as possible. Bagel into the pits. That means GameStopper and Coin are going to have a clear road ahead of them. Coin is losing speed, it seems. A lot of pace was lost. It seems like she hit a bollard or a traffic cone. Is about a second away from GameStopper now. So I believe Bagel has made both of his 2 stops for this race. All the other drivers still need to pit for fuel and tires one more time before the end of this race. And when they will do it is very important. What we can see is we could probably see GameStopper and Coin pit at the same time. Or Coin or GameStopper could go for a different pit strategy. of overcutting or undercutting. Fuel is running low on GameStopper's car, and the tires are starting to whine and cry. Same with Coin. Coin even less fuel, actually. Coin's fuel has gone yellow. GameStopper's hasn't yet. Wonder why Coin is burning more fuel. It's actually very interesting. Within 5/10 of a second to GameStopper here. Spools his pit. That is actually huge for the cars in second and third right now. If they decide to push, they might be able to overcut Spools depending on their pace. I don't think it's going to be fast enough. Spools had a 9-second lead, I believe, and gaining ahead of them. So if they're able to make it around the track quick enough, they might be able to gain time on Spools. Coin is now in the draft to GameStopper in the back straight. It's not going to be enough speed to do much into turn 3, but it is going to close that gap even more. That draft pulls you really hard around these corners. You get a lot of speed, and GameStopper seems to be going into the pits, and Coin is going by. Coin doesn't follow GameStopper into the pits with a red tire and low fuel. Interesting strategy here from the Skittles car. Don't usually call the cars by their names, but it's a Skittles car, so yeah. GameStopper just getting out of the pits. What is Coinsy doing? Is Coinsy trying to overcut for second position with the pits? She really does not have much room to do this, so she's going to have to pull as much pace out of that car as she physically can, because those tires are starting to fail, and the fuel will run out. It did not seem that Coin is in first. I didn't realize that Coin was leading the race. Bagel gets past GameStopper. I guess they're still racing. Even though Bagel is lapped, GameStopper got out of the pits. That's why his pace was lacking so much. Coin's still staying out. Coin is currently leading the race with Spools in second. That lead will probably diminish. Her fuel is super low. It takes about 40 to 30 seconds in the pits, and it looks like there is a 31 seconds between Coin and GameStopper. Possibly looking for an overcut strategy? Let's see if she goes in. And she's going into the pits. This is going to be close. GameStopper has got to be pushing right now. So he knows he's got to beat her out of the pits. You can't let what happened at Catalunya happen again here at Indy. Spools looks like he's going to take back the lead of the race. Here they come down the front straight. GameStopper is moving quick, and Coin is exiting the pits. This is going to be extremely close. Coin's out of the pits. Who's going to be in front? Coin! Coin successfully overcuts GameStopper, but doesn't have much speed, so GameStopper's going to make a significant amount of time up on Coin. Now this is all about if she can hold that lead now. 47 out of 53 laps left. GameStopper is pushing that car. He's currently in the draft of Coin. Making up a lot of time, but going really wide on the exit. Losing a lot of speed. Gonna be close. Coin is moving to the left of the track almost to break the split stream. Stream. It's moving a lot over the place in that front straight. She's moving too much. She could receive a penalty for not keeping a line, but there's not really anyone around, so I don't think that's really a huge deal that the stewards are looking at. This is going to be very close. These two. Coin moving all over the track, trying to break that slipstream from GameStopper. GameStopper pulling every corner just a little bit closer, tugging on that gap. That draft is pulling him so much faster through the straights than Coin is reaching. So let's see what happens. When moving to the left of the track again, very, very violently, to try and break that slipstream. Into turn 1 they go. GameStopper is catching Coin. Ever so slightly. Every little bit. They are catching. There's about 4 laps to go in this race. Anything can happen here. GameStopper's losing the toe a little bit, but holding a lot of speed. Coin has to be perfect and just defend on the final 2 laps, and she will come second and get a podium either way if she drops back from this position or wins, second or not. Coin still moving up all over the track. It's pretty consistent with her movements, which is about halfway through the straightaway. She starts to pull to the left to break the slipstream. Which doesn't seem to be working because GameStopper has just so much more pace right now than Coin does. Touches the grass a little bit, loses a little bit speed, and Coin goes left. Coin really does not want GameStopper to draft her. Which might actually be the end, the demise of Coin, because if he starts to draft on the final laps, there's not going to be enough time for Coin to make up a position. If he gets by. GameStopper getting a huge slingshot through that corner, gets into the draft super close, is going to pass Coin on the bumper. Side by side through turn 1. Coin turns into GameStopper, it goes wide. Coin gives up the position to GameStopper, hits the wall. Oh, that's it. Unless Coin can make up pace in these last 2 laps, GameStopper has secured second position. Oh, Coin would have been able to possibly come back if she didn't turn into GameStopper into turn 1. That's how aggressive these drivers are in these NASCARs. They've been trading paint all day. See how much speed Coin is holding through these corners. She wants that position. 2 laps to go. Backmarkers currently sends Coin wide and off line. Gonna lose more time on GameStopper. Wow, that changed quickly. It was GameStopper was pulling on Coin. Coin was possibly still going to lead. Bagel shunts Code. That's some interesting racing there. I guess they just had more pace than they thought and just got into the rear bumper. And the white flag is out, and we're on to the final lap of the NASCAR Indianapolis race number 3. Current positions are Spool in first, second GameStopper, third Coin, and fourth Bagel, fifth Code. And it looks like things are going to stay this way unless GameStopper manages to make a major mess up on this final lap. There's no chance of Coin making up a second gap unless GameStopper makes a mistake. This really seems like it's going to be our positions for the end of the race. What a race. The overcut strategy nearly worked if she would just hold off GameStopper and hold a line. But when GameStopper got the draft off of her out of turn 4, it was over. She's made up about a half a second and gaining, but it's not going to be enough. Coin finishes third, GameStopper second, Spool's first, and Bagel is lapped, so he will have to complete another lap before ending this race. Same with Code. Code has been lapped twice, I believe. This is going to change a lot of things for the championship. Because Coin has been placing below GameStopper a lot of these races. Actually, all of these races, Coin has dropped below GameStopper, except for the road course last week. Holy crap! We have a car spun on the track, but it doesn't seem to make much of a difference as Bagel crosses the line to finish 4th. The race results are posted here. Finishing first with the best lap of 49 seconds, 49.031, Spools. Second, GameStopper. Third, CoinC. Fourth, Bagel. And fifth is a code with DNF. The leaderboard of the current NASCAR Championship is to the right of the screen. GameStopper still holding on to his pole, well, his first position in the leaderboard. But Spools, if he wins another race next week, will surpass GameStopper. Coin switching to I think she was in 3rd last week, but I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. 40 points. Kind of in the even. Bagel, Pings, Code could still overtake Coin. There's still a really big possibility of there being a fight for 3rd position for a podium in this championship. And on to the Constructors' Championship points of Spring 2021. GameStopper still leading, but its lead is slowly closing from Coin and Spools, who have been picking up points here and there. Code in 4th, and Bagel in 5th. Thank you all for watching tonight's race, or today's race. We hope you all enjoyed. Next week, around the same time of 10 p.m. Saturday evening, on the Twitch channel, we will be streaming live our next race at Watkins Glen. It will be an 18-lap race with 1 required pit stop. If you are interested in joining us, links below in the description to our social medias, our Discord channel where you can actually join us and possibly race alongside us and be featured in our commentary videos. We will see you all next time. Have a good week.